Hi friends, I am here with my friend Mr. Ollie, and he is going to tell us a little bit more about the honeybees that he has. And here are all of his hives that he has at his house. I also got to see some goats and some sheep and some turkeys and some chickens and some ducks, and I took lots of pictures of them that I will put up on our Google site to show you. But Mr. Ollie is going to talk to us a little bit about being a beekeeper and about honeybees and why they are important and how bees make honey. And so we're going to learn lots and lots and lots today about bees. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Okie doke, here we go. So, Mr. Ollie, what are you bringing us?
So this is a full frame of honeybees. So these frames go into the hive and they will build their honeycomb on them so that way they can put babies, pollen, and honey.
Okay, so about how many bees are in each hive?
Typically a hive will have about 50,000 honeybees. It can go up to 100,000, and then typically once they hit that, they'll split into two hives.
Okay, so are all of the bees the same, or are there different kinds of bees?
So there's 3 different kinds of bees. You have the worker bees, that's what makes up the majority of them, and they're all girls. All the worker bees are female. Then you have a few, which are a little bigger, I know you won't be able to see them, but they're males. They're called drones. And in each hive, you have one bee that's the queen, and she's a girl. So she lays all the eggs, and she is the mother to every single one of the bees.
So the drone bees, do they go out and get pollen and nectar from the flowers, or do they stay at the hive?
They actually go out and they will become fathers to other bees from other hives.
Okay. So how do bees make honey?
So the bees will go to, all the worker bees, they will go to flowers all over the place. They'll travel up to a mile looking for flowers, and they'll bring back the nectar. And then they take the nectar and they put it into all the different honeycombs here, and then they fan it with their wings to evaporate the water.
Evaporate means to dry it up.
So it goes from being nectar, which is super runny, almost like water, to honey, which is super thick, like a syrup. And then when it's ready, they will actually take the honey and put it behind a wax capping to store it. So everything back behind here, all this behind here, that's all honey in there.
So the white parts, the honeycomb is already filled with honey and they've sealed it off,
Yeah, it's filled and it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, when they seal it, you know that it's dry enough to where it won't go bad.
So are there certain kinds of flowers that honeybees like best?
Yes, there are a bunch of flowers around here that the honeybees will go to that they prefer. A lot of them are actually trees. Tulip poplar, black locust. They're big trees, but they provide tons of flowers. And then you have stuff like clover, which grows in a lot of people's lawns. Even privet, all sorts of stuff. They'll go to almost anything they can fit into.
Okay, so about how long does a worker bee live?
Not very long. So in the summertime, a worker bee typically lives about 2 to 3 weeks. They will just work and work and work until they die. Now, the bees that are born in the fall, in September, October, they have to survive all winter. So they live longer. If they're born in September or October, they will live all the way until March or April. So those bees, they have the nice life. They just get to sit, eat honey, and relax.
So why do honeybees make honey? Do they make it for humans, or is there a reason?
So they make it so that way they have a food store for wintertime. Honey never goes bad, and also is very, very dense. They take out all the water, so they can store a bunch of energy in their hive for wintertime in honey. And never goes bad, doesn't take up that much space, so it's very, very efficient.
But they make more honey than they need, right? And that's why humans are able to have honey?
Yes. So because bees have been selected for thousands of years now, they produce way, way more honey than they need. Especially here in North Carolina, where our winters aren't that bad, they only need about 40 pounds of honey to make it through winter. And the average hive will produce probably over 100 pounds if you have a good year.
So how do you get the honey off of this slide right here when it's time for you to get the honey and put it into jars?
So what you do is you take a knife and you will cut all the wax capping off. So you're just left with the honey and the honeycomb. And then you you take all the bees off, so you'll shake them so they all go back in their hive. And then you put the frame into what's called a honey extractor. So it spins the frame really, really, really fast, and it slings the honey out onto the metal walls, and then it all falls into a big collecting bucket. Then we can actually put the frame right back into the hive, and they'll fill it up with honey again.
Very cool. So how did you get the bees to all stay on the wood right there? Why are they not all flying around like we see on the playground?
Well, this is their home. They're not going to want to leave here. On this frame, there's babies, there's honey, there's pollen. These bees probably don't even really realize they're out of their hive. They're just looking and they're thinking, I should really focus on my cell that I need to focus on. You know, every bee has a job. So one of these bees might have 4 cells. That's its own. And it just has to make sure that those 4 cells are perfect. So again, they're all just working right now.
So how do they turn the nectar into honey?
By evaporating it. They will fan it with their wings, and they'll actually create a draft in the hive. So you can actually put your hand, well, I wouldn't say do this, but you could put your hand in front of a beehive, and you'll feel warm air coming out. They'll create a vent and push all the warm air out and circulate dry air. And in doing so, they'll actually evaporate all of the water out of the nectar.
Very cool. All right, friends, so if you have any questions for Mr. Ollie about beehives or about honeybees, you can post your question on Seesaw and I will send him a message asking him all of your questions, okay? Awesome. Thank you, friends.